Gods of vapor, shadow gods. The last message, Jonah condemned those that worshipped and paid homage to gods of vapor, shadow gods, not gods that were not gods at all. Now we're going to go back in the book of Samuel, 1 Samuel, in the 28th chapter, and we're going to look at something here. Jonah, even in Scofield's Bible, Scofield makes a comment and said, we know that Jonah wasn't dead in the belly of the great fish. He said, actually the word great fish there, it wasn't a whale. It's something bigger than that. We know that it was something supernatural. A fish can't swim 10,000 miles in 3 days. That's a lot of swimming. And that fish did. But Jonah was dead. But when you're dead, you're conscious. You're not unconscious. You don't soul sleep. You go to Hades. Now, I want to read to you here this episode in Saul's life where he goes and to the witch of Endor, and she calls up Samuel, and God intervenes. Her demon spirit that she had usually dealt with, that told her these things, like in Acts the 16th chapter, and even there with the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel, something God intervened here and sent Samuel back. Now some people don't think that, but I do. And there's quite a few people on my side that think the same thing. So let's go look at this now. Saul was afraid. He was going to go into battle with the Philistines, and he wanted to know what was going to happen. Then Saul said to his servants, find for me a woman who is a medium between the living and the dead, so that I may go to her and ask her advice. And his servant said to him, there is a woman who is a medium in Endor. So Saul disguised himself by wearing different clothes. He left with 2 men, and they came to the woman at night. And he said to her, conjure up for me, please, and bring up from the dead for me the spirit whom I shall name to you. And the woman said to him, now remember, she's used to doing this, but she's dealing with demon spirits. Demon spirits can basically imitate people. They know spirits they don't die. And spirits are around forever, and they probably know everything you ever said, or everything your friends ever said and your enemies ever said. And so they can imitate. Now, let's see what happens here. But the woman said to him, see here, you know that what Saul has done, and how he has cut off and eliminated those who are mediums and spiritists from the land. So why are you laying a trap for my life to cause my death? Then Saul fenced himself in. He swore an oath to her by the Lord, swore an oath to her by Jehovah. As the Lord lives, no punishment shall come upon you for this. So the woman said, whom shall I bring up for you? She said, bring up Samuel for me. Now, her normal familiar spirit, her normal demon spirit working with her, is going to be superseded. So the woman said, whom shall I bring up for you? And he said, bring up for me Samuel. And when one woman saw Samuel, she screamed with a loud voice, and she said to Saul, why have you deceived me? You're Saul. The king said to her, do not be afraid, but tell me, what do you see? And the woman said to Saul, I see a divine, superhuman being coming up from the earth. Divine. This isn't a demon. And he said to her, what is this appearance? And he said, an old man is coming up wrapped in a robe. Then Saul knew that it was Samuel, and he bowed his face to the ground and paid respect to him. So Samuel said to Saul, why have you disturbed me by bringing me up? Why have you disturbed me? He was not unconscious. Saul answered, I am greatly distressed, for the Philistines are making a war against me, and God has left me with no longer answers me, and either through prophets or my dreams, and therefore I have called you to make known to me, what shall I do? Samuel said, "Why then do you ask me, since the Lord has left you and has become your enemy? The Lord has done to you just as he said through me when I was with you, for the Lord has torn the kingdom out of your hand and has given it to your neighbor David, because you did not obey the voice of the Lord and did not execute his fierce wrath on Amalek. Therefore, the Lord has done this thing to you this day. Moreover, the Lord will also put Israel along with you into the hands of the Philistines. And tomorrow you and your sons will be with me among the dead." They will be, now, they're going to be, their bodies are going to be dismantled, but their spirits and souls are going to be with Samuel. That's exactly what happened to Jonah. There is no soul sleeping. When you leave this world, when your body dies, your spirit and soul goes to either God or to Hades. Indeed, the Lord will put the army of Israel into the hands of the Philistines. And then Saul immediately fell full length on the earth floor of the medium's house, and was very afraid because of Samuel's words. And he was thoroughly exhausted because he had not eaten all day and all night. The woman came to Saul and saw that he was greatly troubled, and she said to him, "Look, your maidservant has obeyed you. I have taken my life in my hand, and I have listened to you in everything that you said to me. So now please listen to the voice of your maidservant, and let me set a piece of bread before you." And when they use the word bread, lahem, when they use the word bread, it means food of all sorts. It can be wine, it can be olive oil, it can be cheese, it can be a lamb or whatever. "And eat, so that you may have strength when you go on your way." But he refused and said, "I will not eat." But his servants, together with the woman, urged him, and he finally listened to them. So he got up from the ground and sat on the bed. And the woman had a fattened calf in the house. See, bread is more than bread. That's a term, an idiom. She quickly killed it and took flour, kneaded it, and baked unleavened bread. And she brought it before Saul and his servants, and they ate. Then they got up and went away by the night. You're not dead when you're dead. Your body's dead, that's all. Your soul and the spirit are not dead. No soul sleeping here. No soul sleeping here. Now let's go back where we started from. Now, it's verse 8 in the English Bible, the translation, but it's verse 9 in Hebrew. "Those who regard and follow worthless idols and turn away from their living source of mercy and loving kindness. But as for me, I will sacrifice to you, and with a voice of thanksgiving I will pay that which I have vowed. Salvation is from the Lord." So the Lord commanded the fish, and it vomited Jonah up onto dry land. His body was dead. Now we have anastasia, a resurrection. We have a resurrection in the Old Testament. We have several people that are raised from the dead. We have two people that were raptured, Enoch and Elijah. And here we have Jonah being resurrected from the dead. The fish swallowed him and transported him, the body. The body was dead. He goes over there. Can you imagine what somebody 3 days in a dead body, 3 days in a fish's belly looks like? And God maybe is half dissolved, and he vomits him, pukes him up on the seashores over there at Nineveh, and all of a sudden the flesh comes back and he stands up, and his clothes probably are still all shredded and whatever, but he starts to speak. Now remember this also. Jonah was being corrected, disciplined by the Lord. Jonah knew it. But Jonah is a very stubborn prophet. Watch what happens. He decides, "Oh, Lord, I'll go back and I'll do what you wanted me to do." Then when he goes back and does what he wants to do, see what happens again. God's not finished with him. But he is a hard-headed prophet and is so absolutely racially prejudiced against these people. Now we're going to read this from Hebrew. Wa'ani bigal todah ez li shah lak asher na darti ashu lima yeshu litha la hadabar. And I, again, here we have a conjunction, and then a word I there, and I. 253 conjunction, I 59. And then, now we have another preposition here. Be, that bait there, that's a preposition in. Just like in Hebrew it's in. And not in Hebrew, but in Greek it's in, and in Hebrew it's bait. And it's page 88, and then page 137 in the Greek lexicon for in, and of course it's in English. In voice, in sound, in call. And I in a call or voice of thanksgiving, todah, and thanksgiving, that means happiness, it means brightness, smile. And then I shall slaughter. First person contrast singular cal cohortive in meaning. This shows I shall slaughter for myself. I shall make a slaughter. I shall make a sacrifice for myself to you. First person contrast singular cal cohortive. Page 256 and page 261, that word there. And it involves volition. He will do it for his, because he wants to. God's not finished with him yet. Not finished correcting him yet either. Lock, to you. Now here we have a preposition with a suffix, and that's first person singular. To you, that which, that's an asher, that's a little particle relation there. I have vowed, nadarti. I have vowed. First person contract singular cal perfect. I have vowed, and I shall fulfill it. First person contrast singular p hell, and it's cohortive in meaning again. I shall, for myself, I will bring about this peace offering between you and me. Now it comes from the word ashalamina, hashalamia, and that means peace. That's where shalom is. Shalom, peace. I shall make peace with you. I shall make a covenant with you. I shall, between two people, unless you have agreement, you have no covenant, do you? Do you? You have two people, before you can have peace with them, you have to have a agreement. I shall fulfill for myself and make peace with you and me. You are the rewarder. You are the maker of peace, of deliverance, of Yashu'atha, deliverance or salvation to Jehovah. To Jehovah. Le Hadavar, or to Jehovah. The word Jehovah means he who shall become, remember? And that is fulfilled in John 1:14. 2 and verse 11 in Hebrew now, it's not that in the English Bible. Wayomer Hadavar, Ladag, Wayaga, Eth Yehona, El Hayabasha. And he spoke, Wyomer, and he said and kept on saying. That's Wyomer, third person master singular cal, while consecutive and perfect. It comes from Amer in Hebrew, that's the root of it, a little three letter word, Amer, Aleph, Mem, and Resh. And he spoke and kept on speaking, Jehovah. Here we have the word Hadavar again, Jehovah. To the fish, la dog. that little preposition in front, page 515, that little lameth, and then to the fish. Now, I want you to understand this, that Nineveh worshipped fish gods.
Mm.
They worshipped fish gods.
Mm.
And now the fish is the transport, but this fish here is a supernatural transporter. It's like a high-speed rail, boy. I mean, he's moving on. I imagine the fish had to swim several hundred miles an hour. So this is a high-speed fish swimming here. It's a supernatural fish. Any other fish would have raked the scale. He would have been naked but scales time he got there. He'd have swim all the scales off of himself. But this is a supernatural fish, and not only is it a supernatural fish, it's a big one. It might be 70, 80 feet long. It is a maybe what we call well, like a dragon or something. This fish is gigantic. It is a sea monster, a leviathan. And he's swimming now. What do you think about all the people out there and maybe ships and everything when they see this fish flying by like that underwater? Maybe he's just not very deep in water, just flying by there, all these, looking to see, where in the world that thing, what is it? Did you see that? And then Jehovah spoke to the fish, this leviathan. Now, we know that historically, the customs of the people, they believe that out in the ocean, when a great big storm started, a leviathan would stir up the waters and make it a storm. The same thing on the Sea of Galilee. They thought a great leviathan at the bottom of the Sea of Galilee would stir up the waters of the Sea of Galilee, and they would have shipwrecks and everything. And then the lost souls would go right straight down into Sheol, from Tophet, the bottomless pit down there. And that this demon leviathan guarded that bottomless pit. And that's when Jesus got out there and stilled the water out on the Sea of Galilee. They said he has powers even over the great leviathans. When Jannes and Jambres stood in the Pharaoh's palace there with Aaron and Moses, Aaron threw his rod down and it became a leviathan, a supernatural creature, not a serpent, but a leviathan. It is a leviathan. It was not a Nahash. It was a leviathan. And it became a leviathan, a great dragon, fire-breathing dragon. And then Jannes and Jambres, when they threw their rods down, Satan caused them to become dragons also. Satan is very powerful, but God is more powerful. They threw their rods down and they became leviathans also, and then God's leviathan swallowed those leviathans. And then he turned back into a rod. And he vomited the fish. Jehovah spoke to the fish and caused the fish to vomit Jonah unto, the little preposition there, page 39, unto Basha. Unto, preposition, the definite article 206, and then the dry land. He vomited him up on the seashore. So now, do you think that those fishermen could have been out there on the seashore, and they see this gigantic fish swim up on the shore, and then he vomits this man out. And they said, this is a sign from the gods. And then Jonah tells them that it's not a sign from the gods, but a sign from Jehovah God. 3 and verse 1 now. Why he? Davar, Hadavar, El Yonah, Sheneth, Lemor. And he became, and it became, that is, the word there is called, it is a masculine gender. And the word, it became, you might put it there, but it is the word he became, of Jehovah. The word of Jehovah. Why he the var. Word of Jehovah unto Jonah, El preposition unto Jonah. By the way, Jonah means what? Dove. The word Jonah and John, this is the book of John in the Old Testament. This is the book of Jonah or John in the Old Testament. The book of John in the New Testament, that's be the Apostle John. John, 1st, 2nd, 3rd John, the book of Revelation by John, but we have an Old Testament book of John, and this is it. Unto Jonah, Shanith, that word second time, again. The word Shanith there means to divide. You have one, and you split one, and it becomes two. It doubles, okay? And that's what it says. It means division. And the word, the second time, saying. Now here we have the word saying as cal infinitive construct, to say literally. It actually says to say, which means to keep on saying. Verse number 2 now. Gum, lek, el, Nineveh, hayer, ha, gedolah, wikjah, ilahi, ilaha that is, et, hagariah, asher, anoki. Davar, ilika. Arise now. He said, stand up now. You got bones and skin back all together now. You got your sinews back on your feet. You got your, probably, maybe he didn't change his clothes. Maybe they're just half dissolved. Running around half naked, looking like that with seaweeds hanging on him. Kum, arise, leak, go. That's masculine singular. Cal imperative. Arise, and you go unto, preposition 39, Nineveh. The house of the fish god. That's what Nineveh is, the house of the fish god. Nineveh means the house of the fish god. So look, God sent the fish, or the Leviathan, and swallowed Jonah. Jonah is deposited there on the seashore. People probably saw him stand up, all ragged. Maybe he was half dissolved when he came out of there, and the bones and the flesh come back together. The city, ha-er, ha is the definite article, and then er is the city. Unto then the city, ha-gedalah, great. This great city, ha, definite article, 206. And then the city of the great. Then we have another conjunction, we, and then kara, and cry out, masculine singular cal imperative. You cry out, come from kara, to her, ilaha, to her, the city. And now we have the sign of direct object, and then hagariah, the ha there is definite article, 206, and then agariah is the proclamation, which Asher, particle of relation, which I, Anoki, a little first person pronoun there, page 59. Declaring, masculine singular cal participle. Declaring, or saying, or wording, ilaka, unto you. That's a preposition, el, and then we have a suffix. Second person. Singular. 3 and 3 now. Wayagam, Yonah, Wayelek, El, Nineveh, Kidbar, Hadavar, Wehenewe, Hayatha, Ir, Gedalah, Li Elohim, Mahalak, Shilosheth, Yamin. And he rose up, Jonah. That conjunction there, wa, conjunction 253, and he rose up, third person masculine, singular, cal, while consecutive and perfect, comes from comb. He rose up, Jonah, and he walked, and kept on walking third person masculine singular cal, well, consecutive and perfect. Yelek. He made tracks. Made tracks. That's what it means. He made foot tracks. Made tracks unto Nineveh. That city, and what does it mean? The house of the fish god. According to the word, that word key there, the key, kid davar, key is part of that on the front of that 471, and then we have the word davar there also, page 120, 180. Unto the word of Jehovah. Jehovah's word. Word Jehovah means he who shall become. The word Hayah is a linking verb or to be verb, 224 and 243, and the word Jehovah is on page 218 and 19 in the same lexicon there. And then it says, and Nineveh. We, and conjunction, Nineveh, the house of the fish god, she had become a great city. She had become city great, is what it literally says. Third person feminine singular cal perfect, she had become city great unto God. Le Elohim, unto God. From journey. Mea, from, preposition there. From journey 3 days. It took 3 days to go through that city. 3 days. How far can a man walk in a day? I walked over 20 miles in a day. A lot of times. One time we were in Glenville, California, and we were chasing a bear with our dogs. We treed on the ground a lot of times, but we went up 28 miles. Up 28 miles, all the way up by Greenhorn Summit, nearly, except to the left of it. And then we went all the way back down. That's 56 miles. We walked for many hours. I think we walked from probably 4 o'clock in the evening, probably till 8 or 9 o'clock the next morning. But we walked about 50-something miles. We were tired. We didn't get the bear. I got up there and all I had was a gun that wouldn't shoot. My gun, my dad had taken off with it, and the gun that Fred had, my hunting partner, it was so rusty it wouldn't shoot. I tried to shoot a coon with it. It took me about 10 times dropping the hammer. I sure wasn't going to shoot a bear with a .22 pistol that wouldn't shoot. I would shoot a bear with a .22 pistol, but not one that wouldn't shoot. Simple as that. I went home and I cleaned that gun until I got me another one. Simple as that. The next time I went up there with a .44 Magnum. Well, 3 days journey. How far could it be? Maybe 6 days, 6 miles, 8 miles, 10 miles, 30 miles through, 30 or 40 miles around, 50 miles around the city. Big city. And God wanted to save that city. He wanted to save that city. And he sent Jonah to do it. God sends you throughout the world, wherever you are in the world, where you're Donald over there in Wales, or Nancy in Pennsylvania, or Brother Max down there in New Zealand, my friends in India and China, wherever they may be. God sends you there for a reason. You're supposed to be there doing something. You're supposed to do something. Maybe all you can do is encourage people. Maybe you could give them the plan of salvation. Maybe they can see the plan of salvation in you. But God's going to give you something to do. Wherever you are, we're not supposed to be sedentary. We're supposed to be life-giving elements, wherever we are. God took a godless people that had no God. They worshiped vapor gods. They worshiped shadow gods, remember? They worshiped the house of the fish god. And now God uses this fish to spit out this real prophet of God on their seashore, on the banks of that river, that is. And he's got a message. And he doesn't want to give them the message. This is the most reluctant prophet in the history of the Bible, I believe. Our Father, we send this message out for your honor and glory. Please use it. Please, wherever it goes, help encourage lives and help us understand that we have a job to do, all of us, no matter what we're doing. We're not on vacation. We're not retired. We are servants of you. We don't serve a vapor God or a shadow God. We serve a real God of substance, of reality. You're our God. You're our Creator. Please forgive me where I failed you. In Jesus' name.